Hey guys, it's miicrow here. I figured I would do one last video just to kind of send off before Season 10 on how to prep for Season 10. These are just like some last second things that you may or may not have done that are kind of important to take care of before we get into the beginning of the new endgame system. So first off, one thing that I've been doing which I think is debatable. This is like market play related stuff. I've been buying up a crap ton of matrices, and it's also like kind of why I'm broke. But I think matrices are going to be used in the new system. They're currently used for artifacts. People will likely be using artifacts in the new system as well. I think they're going to be used in some sort of like kind of crafting slash gear perk oriented endgame system so that we have to use them because this is the endgame reward for 250 if you are max level on your trade skill, and they said that the devs said that they aren't going to release a level 300, and based off of that, matrices, because they're like the ultimate reward, I think would likely be used in a new system, but I'm taking a little bit of a gamble there. Uh, One other thing that would be really good to do is just to get your artifacts ready. I'm going to have a video later today on some of the more underrated ones, like ones that got buffed, like Otzi is getting buffed, for example, and some ones that I just think would be generally viable in Season 10, so look out for that. I would say kind of get ready with your consumes or have consumes on standby. Consumes right now are expensive, but they're not as expensive as they're going to be tomorrow, and I would just recommend uh, kind of just hoarding onto them for now because these are going to spike. Oh, they already did spike. These were 35 gold yesterday, and now they're 46 gold today, so look at that. But consumes, you would make sure you have your you probably don't need regeneration serums, but make sure you at least have infused regen pots. Azoth water is a really good thing to go out and gather if you are a gatherer. This was 10 gold yesterday, it's 14 today. People keep buying it up and then just selling it at a higher price because the supply isn't that great. So that's just something to look out for. This is going to be our main limitation in terms of potion prices, unless people go on more elite chest runs, which they likely will at the beginning of next season, but we still will need Azoth water for a majority of the crafts. The other thing, if you're a crafter for this, is you can go to Infused Alkahest, which often lags behind the price, so you saw how Azoth water is like 14 gold. I could buy this, and then that is effectively cheaper than making it at this point. Like, all these are effectively cheaper than making it, so that's just something to beware of. But that's something from a crafting standpoint that would be useful. Uh, I would recommend kind of getting crafting materials. I don't know which ones are going to be used. I'm kind of taking bets on a couple. Like we have prismatic, which, you know, they're the endgame system, so you would think that they would be used in the next season. The other current one that we have that's not really used that much, that likely will be used at some point, is mithril. Like, mithril's used currently, but it's not used a ton, so I think, like, one of these two will probably be the endgame resource. If mithril isn't used, mithril ore effectively is still useless, and that just creates another big issue, so that's why I'm kind of taking a soft bet on mithril now. But prismatic is probably going to be the one that's used more, because it's, like, the time-gated resource that AGS loves to utilize, so look out for those. Other thing, for people that aren't into the market stuff, make sure you use your event awards, because these literally disappear tomorrow. So if you went around towns and you interacted with these to get your bags, make sure you open up your bags, make sure you get the gold from them, and then use those rewards on whatever you deem fit. So that's just something that's kind of noteworthy. Uh, I would generally recommend also getting a set to get ready to do story. You don't really need a great set. You're going to get gear immediately that's going to replace your current set, most likely. Like, I don't even think it has to be 700 gear score. You don't really want to upgrade this. I put together just, like, a really cheap budget one that is using all these weird attributes. Like, I have int on legwear, because int is... And this was, like, a 100 gold piece. I think I built this entire set for under 1k. But... Like, there's all these pieces on the market that seem like they're really bad today and will be really good tomorrow because all the intelligence, dexterity, all that stuff is getting removed. So just try to find something with Enchanted Ward and you'll just generally be good. I would also recommend having a little bit of lifesteal. If you have Blood Drinker, that's a good option. If you want to go like a route and then do like some VG cheese like I like to do in solo play where you go like Essence Rupture and you go Tether, that's another a good route just to have access to a good amount of weekends and a good amount of lifesteal on bosses. That's something that will help you out a bit. I generally recommend getting trophies, particularly lost ones, because that's likely going to be the main thing for the new zone. They are kind of expensive now if you haven't got them, but they probably will go up again. It's a major loss. Like, this is the really expensive one. And then there's miners. The miners are probably good enough. Yeah, like, the miners aren't that bad. So, like, I would recommend probably getting these, just to have them to do the main story, as well as they'll be useful for the raid. A major loot luck is never a bad idea, especially if you're going to do chest runs early on, which I imagine a lot of people are going to be doing chest runs early on to get access to some new gear and to try to sell that gear. Chest runs will really help when you're navigating the new zone. We know it's in Brim. This is probably going to be the entrance, or like it's connected to Brim, so this is like one of the entrances likely to the main zone. You can see the path going into it, so logging off around there is a good idea. It also looks like it was pretty close to Eben. You might be able to swim over, but that's like kind of sketchy, because if you can't, it's going to be a little bit of a funny moment. So if you're going to be trying to, one of those players is racing to get to the fort to try to buy it from the company, you kind of have a bet there. Is it faster to swim across Evan, or is it faster to run down through a path that we haven't really completely seen yet? So those are your two options, I guess, there. I guess one thing that kind of is obvious is make sure you have your mounting level up to at least 200. If you're up to 200, you get to max speed. I guess you don't have to get to 200, but it's just like getting these speed bonuses is really, really helpful. It's a really easy thing to do to prop. I would also recommend trying to get your faction rep to max level, because they mentioned that you could buy the new heart rune at the faction vendor when the season comes out. So that's something I'm looking to do. I got this to max yesterday. I just need to do a quest to unlock the level 6. And then I'm good there. And then I would also just recommend preloading faction rep for just a quick XP boost at the start of the season too. That might not be bad. I think the biggest one will probably be Elysian Wilds if you want to do that, but I think your first 3 missions of the day are triple boosted, and then that will give you a good amount of rep, and it might take you up a level. It might take you up like half a level, but it will make it the experience to get to level 70 a little bit faster if you want to prep that way. I don't think it's really required. Like, you can go through the main story quest and you'll be perfectly fine, but if you have nothing to do today, it's not a bad option to just get a little bit of extra XP on standby. And with that being said, let me know if you guys have any other tips. It seems like there's a lot of people that are looking to play the game and coming back to the game. Like last night, I think we had Summit on New World, which if he plays New World with the expansion, the pop is literally just going to double. So that's going to be crazy. There were queues yesterday. I imagine there's going to be queues today. I imagine there's going to be queues tomorrow. So just beware of the queues. Make sure not to hit the transfer world button if you don't want to transfer world, because you will not easily be able to come back. And I will see you guys later. Peace.